What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Jake Shavink here, and today, Packers fans, we're going to take a look at how the Packers could maybe surprise us with their round one selection in the 2021 NFL Draft. Now, in previous seasons, I would say, Packers fans, we've been shocked a few times. I think the Kenny Clark pick was a little bit more shocking because of who was still on the board, and maybe there wasn't as much talk about him to Green Bay. And obviously, last year, Jordan Love was certainly a shock to many, with obviously Aaron Rodgers in the building. So it's entirely possible that the Packers could shock us yet again in the first round of the NFL Draft. So in this video, we're going to look at 6 players who the Packers could select in the first round that would be maybe more shocking than a lot of the players that they've been mocked throughout draft seasons. So let's take a look at those 6 players and kind of dissect their games a little bit while also talking about why they would be a little bit more of a surprise selection. So let's dive right in and talk about these 6 players. So first, this is a pretty simple one. TREVON MOEHRIG is a very talented safety prospect. Safety 1 for most people in the draft community. And why is this a little shocking? Because of how Green Bay feels like they are set at the position, right? Obviously, Darnell Savage had a good second half of the season, is starting to improve, really become a star in that defense. And obviously, Adrian Amos has been an incredible free agent signing for the Packers. So it feels like they're set there, right? Well, not necessarily. I think for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, Green Bay is all in this year, and the big contracts that they dished out to Amos, the Smith brothers, and Billy Turner could bite them in 2022, and they could have to potentially release a couple of those players. Now, not necessarily going to be Amos, but definitely be on the mind. So the other thing is that Joe Barry wants, safeties who are good on the back end, but can come downhill, make plays as well. Obviously wants to focus on the nickel position as well. So with this pick, MOEHRIG, who is very good in short zone coverage, good ball skills, a rangy playmaker, you look at a guy who could potentially play the nickel spot, but also play on the back end of this defense where Darnell Savage could drop down into the nickel as well. So having 3 safeties who are versatile players, and really MOEHRIG might be the best in the back end of the defense, having those 3 would be really good and potentially could bring the secondary together and be really, really lethal in 2021. So wouldn't rule this out by any means. Now, here's a fun one. Obviously, Packers fans want the wide receiver position to be addressed in the 2021 NFL Draft, and it's entirely possible this is the year they go after it early and often. Obviously, a lot of players under contract, those will expire at the end of 2021, including Davante Adams, who we all expect to be extended, but still, Valdez-Scantling, Lazard, guys like that are going to be free agents. So finding guys who are going to come in on rookie deals will be important for the Packers, just depending on when they do it. So Elijah Moore has gotten some first-round buzz recently. Obviously, an elite athlete, an elite separator in the slot, good route runner, good route tempo, a 3-level threat. Kind of fits the bill for the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, they would like to have more of a gadget player who can get a lot of scheme touches and win after the catch. Obviously, Kadarius Toney and Rondale Moore have been mocked to the Packers for months. But Elijah Moore would be a little bit off the radar as type of guy who can separate quickly in this offense, win in the short passing game, and also be a threat down the field. So pairing him with Davante Adams could be a lot of fun and maybe too much for the Packers to pass up at 29. Another fun one, I know a lot of people are hoping, at least Packers fans, that Zaven Collins falls to 29. Just don't think it's going to happen as well as he tested and as good as an athlete he is for his size. So it's probably more of a pipe dream at this point. So if the Packers do go linebacker early, who could it be? Well, JABRIL Cox would be an interesting one. Had a good Senior Bowl week, obviously transferred to LSU from North Dakota State. Kind of fits the bill as a coverage linebacker for the current NFL that features a lot of the passing game, and you need linebackers who are rangy, who can have the speed and quickness to work sidelines, but also be effective in coverage, covering a lot of ground. I think JABRIL Cox can be that player. I think he is really potentially the best coverage linebacker in this class. So it'd be an interesting selection for the Packers, who haven't gone linebacker in the first round in quite some time, just like receiver. So it would be a little bit more shocking, obviously, than saying, of course, going offensive line at tackle, maybe center or defensive line or corner. You'll notice no corners on this list. So Jabril Cox going in the first to Green Bay would be a shock, but again, it makes sense as a guy who could, help fill a little bit of a shallow room at linebacker. All right, here's another fun one. Obviously, this is more of a need for the Packers on the defensive line, but LEVI and ONWUZURIRE not mocked in the first round a whole lot. And I think Christian Barmore is obviously the desired player in this class, and he could go a lot earlier than people expect because of how weak the class is. So the Packers may not feel like this is a reach, but maybe to outside people it is. But again, a guy who has pass rushing juice at the 3-tech position, has moved from nose to 3-tech to 5-tech on the Washington Huskies defensive line. Great initial quickness, good agility, change of direction skills, a lot of pop in his hands, can do speed to power in such a short area. Again, he didn't have a lot of production in college, but again, if I were betting on a prospect as a pass rusher from the interior, it'd be this guy or it'd be Oso Digizua, who's not obviously going to be in consideration at 29, but ONWUZURIRE certainly could be and would probably be a little bit of a shock to Packers fans if he were the pick at 29. But again, a lot of upside there. Okay, so also another safety, Richie Grant, who has skyrocketed up draft boards recently, had a great Senior Bowl week, potentially the biggest winner down in Mobile. Just what he did in coverage, what he showed in man coverage, what he can do with ball skills, great instincts as a player, just an all-around playmaker. And I think when you see him click and close and you see him fly downhill to make plays, good tackler. This is the type of guy, again, who you can talk about in the back end of the defense, who has the ability, again, Joe Barry going to love quarters coverage, but he likes his safeties to get downhill quickly. Richie Grant kind of fits that bill, and if MOEHRIG isn't there, maybe Grant's the pick at 29 for the Packers, just because of what he can do in coverage, what his ball skills, just be a playmaker on that defense. And again, really shoring up the secondary and making it a true top strength for the Packers heading into 2021. Okay, before everyone in the comments goes absolutely nuts, I'm not saying that I would take Spencer Brown in the first round. I'm not saying that. However, we know that NFL teams love to take elite athletes at tackle early. Saw Colton Miller go early to the Raiders a few years ago. Obviously, he's turned out to be a pretty solid tackle, so it worked out. Spencer Brown starting to get buzz in the first round. Obviously, there's a lot of smoke with first-round buzz, but again, in a tackle class that is deep but has some elite athletes, Spencer Brown would be intriguing because he's got the background at tight end. Obviously, came to Northern Iowa as a tight end, bulked up, 6'8", 320 type player. He's taller, longer, a good athlete who great footwork to mirror pass rushers. And again, a guy who can get after it in the run game as well. Obviously, there's a need at right tackle. Maybe Spencer Brown comes in and fills that need. Maybe doesn't do it right away, but develops into the long-term right tackle for the Packers. And again, not something necessarily I would do this early in the draft, but again, something that may be very shocking and would surprise us as Packer fans in the first round of the draft. So, 6 players, all pretty good players in this draft class, but all could be surprising first-round selections. Like we said, for a team that a lot of people expect to go corner early or offensive line, maybe defensive line if Barmore's there, maybe wide receiver. But again, I think a lot of people have honed in at corner, offensive line to be the pick at 29. So again, these 6 players would probably be a little bit shocking and surprising if they were the selections. So again, I think when it comes to the Packers in the draft, expect the unexpected. I think we finally let that lesson sink in when Jordan Love was the pick last year. So Packers fans, obviously get excited. It's a fun time, but could be surprised on the first night of the draft. So hope you guys enjoyed this little video. If you did, drop a like for me. Drop a subscribe if you're new. A lot more content coming before the draft and after. And I hope you guys can stick around for that. We'll see you guys very soon. Farewell.